Thank you very much, Reynah, and thank you for having me to perform this function tonight. I acknowledge the presence of the members of the judiciary and also leaders of the profession and the business community and all of you present. Nothing happens in our world unless people stand up for themselves. I know that from my own life and my own experience in the diversity which was of closest concern to me. The issue of the LGBT minority, gays, people who were often silent, who could hide their identity, and that was what you were expected to do. But a point was reached where the Rubicon was crossed, and that was no longer a tolerable situation. And it's good to see so many people here. Many have said more than they expected to see here, standing up for themselves, standing up for their dignity, and standing up for their rights within the legal profession. The basic figures which Reynah keeps going around telling us about are not really in doubt. The total number of Australians who identify as being of Asian heritage are 9.6%, nearly 10% of our population. The total number of partners in legal firms is 3.1%. The total number of members of the bar who identify as of Asian origin are 1.6%. The total number of silks who identify as of Asian origin is just a fraction of the 1.6%. The total numbers in the judiciary who can be identified as of Asian origin or descent are 0.8%, less than 1%. I remind you again, in the total population, 9.6%, and the numbers in the judiciary 0.8%, less than 1%. In the large firms, 3.2%, that's to say firms with 40 or more in their partners, 3.2%, but 6 of them have 0%. And in medium firms, 2.7%, with 44 of them having 0 people from Asian backgrounds. Research projects, well, it's a kind of research project, was carried out where CVs were sent to firms in the legal profession, some with Asian names and some with non-Asian names, and the numbers who received an interview were greatly enhanced if the name was non-Asian. What an amazing and shocking statistic that is. And Reynah is to be congratulated on revealing it. You only build the future on the basis of the truth of the present. And it's a wonderful thing that these figures are now known, and therefore we have to address them and ask, well, does it matter? If it matters, why has it happened? And if it's happened, what can we do about it? The lead professional organisations of our country do commit themselves, and I am sure sincerely, in support of diversity and equality. The Law Council of Australia says this: the Australian legal profession is committed to promoting diversity, equality, respect and inclusion, consistent with the principles of justice, integrity, equity and the pursuit of excellence upon which the legal profession is founded. We recognise that diversity benefits the legal profession and the community as a whole. Accordingly, the Australian legal profession and its members treat all people with respect and dignity regardless of sex, sexuality, disability, age, race, ethnicity, religion, culture and other arbitrary features. Create and foster equality through a supportive and understanding environment for all individuals to realise the maximum potential regardless of differences, and promote and support a strong and fair legal profession comprising, accommodating, encouraging and respecting a diverse range of individuals and views. That's a pretty good statement, I think. It's good because it's not passive. It's expressed in the active voice. It's expressed in doing something about the situation we face in Australia. I then turned to criteria which I received in the last week from the Australasian Institute of Judicial Administration. This is a wonderful organisation, and I respect it, but I think its criteria are a little too passive for my liking. Suggested criteria for judicial appointments. The suggested criteria, they say, draw on information from a range of sources, including research into the qualities. The AIJA has reviewed criteria for judicial appointment for a large number of common law jurisdictions, particularly England and Wales. Why particularly England and Wales? It's a long time since our appeals went to the Privy Council. As it happened, I presided in the Court of Appeal of New South Wales with the last appeal that went to the Privy Council. Happily, we were upheld. But that was a long while ago, very soon after my appointment in 1984. The criteria they announce are intellectual capacity, personal qualities, ability to understand and deal fairly, authority and communication skills, efficiency, leadership and management skills. Apart from the section on personal qualities and maybe the ability to understand and deal fairly, it all looks as though it's been expressed in the business school rather than the law school. The law school, Professor Dixon and the other deans here present could have told the AIJA, just in case they'd forgotten, that law is not an ordinary business. Law is not an ordinary profession. Law is about values. Law is about the values that inform what we do and how we do it and outcomes. And therefore, it's more important in law to reflect the diversity of values than it is in just about anywhere else. Because law is about power. Law is about power in our society. And if values affect the exercise of power, it's very, very important that the diversity of values and experience and background should be reflected. In the ability to understand and deal fairly, there's the requirement of impartiality. Well, that's in all the international human rights statements for the judiciary. Awareness of and respect for the diverse communities and the court that the courts serve, and an understanding of different needs. Awareness of. I wonder if that's strong enough. I wonder if it's just a little bit passive, that we understand, but we don't draw upon the deep wells of our own experience in the performance of our functions, because we come from such diversity, we come from such backgrounds. Now, as you know, the law never rushes things. Justice Mary Gaudron, that wonderful, feisty, highly intelligent, brilliant judge, who happened to be a woman, was the first woman justice of the High Court of Australia, and she was appointed in 1986. It took a long time, nearly the whole of the first century of federation, to get around to appoint a woman. You know how it all began. The statutes establishing the legal profession provided that any person could be admitted as a legal practitioner, but in 2 states of our Commonwealth and in many states in the United States, courts said person means male person, because only male persons had to that time been men. Only male persons had been judges. The patriarchal attitude affected the way the judges looked at the word person. Amazing now to look back on it and think that such decisions were made by very distinguished, honest, uncorrupted judges, but they were made, and it took a long time to change that. Attorneys General frequently say there's only one criterion for appointment to the judiciary, and that's merit. But we all know that in our country, because the judiciary comes usually from the bar, not always, then you're not going to provide the catching field for the judiciary unless you have more people at the level of partners in legal firms and members of the bar and silks within the bar. And therefore the question is, why have we reached this pass?